Hello, I'm Isaac with Kubota, and I'm excited to introduce a new addition to our fleet, the new M7 Gen 4 Series tractor. With some new big improvements, this tractor is going to put Kubota on top for the market share, and we have some of the best competitive standard features for 2024. In this video, we're going to talk about the John Deere 6145 M Series. We're going to do a walk around on the outside of this tractor, and I'm going to go inside this tractor and talk to you about some of the new features that it has. And then we're going to do an Infield testimonial with Fortenberry Farms that owns an M7 172 Deluxe tractor. And I'm going to let him sit in the seat of the Generation 4 tractor and talk about at least two of the new features that I find very appealing on this series of tractors. Since its inception in 1998, the M Series tractor with the M110 and M120 have been a legacy, with many of these models still standing in the field today. In 2005, we came out with the M125X using that same 356 cubic inch 5-cylinder diesel engine that we had in the past, and the 16-speed power shift transmission. In 2009, Kubota was a turning point, moving to the turbocharged 374 cubic inch diesel engine on the M126, and still using that same 16-speed power shift transmission. In 2012, due to regulations, we moved to electronic fuel injection with the M126GX and the M135GX. But Kubota did not stop there. We continued with that same engine. It was a very big feature, especially compared to the competition in its series. It also included that same bi-speed steering that Kubota has been known for many, many years. And one of the things I want to hit on is the cab. With the cab, we moved to the 4-post cab. So in the past, we had a side window. We removed that side window on this tractor. In doing so, it makes it much easier, wider entry, easier to get in if you have a buddy seat. Now, Deere could not say the same thing. With that 6M series, they use the older 6M series uses the older style technology with the 6-post cab on their tractors. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the John Deere 6M series. We've been talking about that 4-post cab. This particular tractor is the 6175M. So very similar design to that 6145M. As we look at the cab, you see the side window. That's because this is a 6-post cab. On our M7 and even our M6 tractor, we're running a 4-post cab. That means the door goes all the way to the back. We have a wider opening. So this tractor is kind of slightly outdated. As we go inside the cab, especially if you have the instructor seat down on this tractor, it's going to be kind of cumbersome getting into the tractor. If we look inside the cab even further, you're going to notice the size of the cab is nowhere near as big as the Kubota M6 or the M7 cab. One of the things to note is when you're looking for this size tractor, the biggest feature is the heart of the tractor, the engine. The Kubota tractor is 98 to 100 cubic inch larger than any tractor in its class. That includes John Deere, New Holland, and Case as well. If you're in the large ag tractor market and you're undecided between the M6 and M7 series tractor, while the M6 may be a great tractor if you're on a tight budget, the M7 does have many new features that I think you want to pay attention to. Number one, base weight. When we talk about M6, M7 size tractor, we're going from 11,000 pounds to 14,500 pounds. This tractor has the heaviest base weight in its class compared to competition, and the highest loader lift capacity as well. With the M7 Generation 4 Deluxe tractor, we also have mechanical cab suspension, and we have a simple push button design on the console. That's going to eliminate any of the fears of it being too complicated for the average operator. Primarily for 2024, Zimmer Kubota decided to order the Deluxe version of this tractor. And the reason is because we mainly are in the hayfield. The hayfield around here is mainly disc mowing, mower conditioning, round belling, raking. We also do some light tillage. We do some conventional seeding, mostly no-till drilling and planting as well. These are all reasons for comfort. You can buy the Deluxe version without breaking the bank. We talk about closed center hydraulics included on this tractor. This tractor is going to send just the right amount of flow that your implement requires, taking load off the tractor, saving fuel. Comparison, an open center tractor such as the M6 tractor uses a fixed displacement pump which puts more load on the tractor, taking more fuel. In comparison, this closed center tractor is also going to produce less heat and noise than an open center tractor. And this is the type of hydraulic system that customers expect in this class of tractor as far as competition. So there's a lot of new features with the Generation 4, probably 5 or 6 big changes, but there's 2 main ones. One is multi-speed steering control unit. With this, you can turn at a tighter angle, faster and sharper, with less turns of the steering wheel for the operator. This is going to be a significant advantage over the competition. Even that John Deere 6145M does not have this multi-speed steering or progressive steering, what some people may call it. In fact, you cannot even option up on that series of tractor to get this feature. This is going to make maneuvering in the hayfield effortless. One of the complaints I hear from customers is trying to get through the windrows. One of the things you want to make sure, there being 12 to 16 different tires on this tractor, is setting the steering stop angle. We're going to zoom in on the steering stop angle. As you can see, it is adjustable. I did have the Kubota reps come and adjust this tractor. Once you adjust this tractor, you do have to have a laptop and a certified tech to recalibrate the steering angle. You can see the indentation in the bottom of the hood, and I'll throw a picture up so you can see what it looks like at an angle. So if you have the tractor, this wheel up higher, another one lower, you're gonna have a lot tighter clearance. Kubota's been known for tight turning radius for many, many years, and this is just another example of that feature. Another big feature is the Xpress Restart. With this, if you're bailing and you want to dump a bale, you simply hit the brake, dump the bale, close the bell chamber, let your foot off the brake, hit the throttle and drive forward. This is going to be a significant advantage over having to reach your hand on that left side of the steering column or pressing in the clutch to clutch the tractor. If you have the loader on the tractor and you want to move hay or maybe material with the bucket, you simply hit the brake to clutch it, use your shuttle, your joystick control has a shuttle control lever built onto it now, so you can adjust the direction automatically. This is going to be a significant advantage over the competition, being that this is a standard feature. You can option up on the John Deere 6145 to include this option, but it's going to cost you more money. These are 2 of the best competitive standard features that we're going to see throughout 2023 and going forward. I think this is going to put Kubota on top with some of the best standard competitive features going forward. So we also have a new loader with this tractor, the LM2606. I don't have the luxury of having it with the tractor, but I still want to talk about it. We have 5,700 pounds lift capacity. That's at 31 inches forward of the center of the bucket. When you're measuring loaders, you want to make sure that you're at that spec, not just at the pivot pins, because it can make a difference on certain models. We have the highest lift capacity in the class. If you compare this to the Deere, that 6145M is a lighter tractor, especially in the back end. So it's going to cost more money. You're going to have to add more weight. So our tractor is going to feel smoother operating that loader because of the heavy weight of this tractor, weighing at that 14,500 pounds. Another big thing that Kubota has changed on the new loader, we have 9 new cast bushings, changing the greasing interval from 10 hours to 30 hours. In addition to that, we continue to have the Kubota shockless ride that we've seen on the Gen 2 as well. That's going to take a lot of the shock out of the loader. That still remains a standard feature on this tractor. Before on the Gen 2, on the loader joystick valve, we had the 3rd function. We now have a new loader joystick valve on this Deluxe version. This is going to include gear shift and shuttle direction change, as well as some additional 3rd and 4th function features if you have the 4th function available on the tractor. This is going to be a significant advantage, especially pairing that with the Xpress Restart and the loader. I have personally been to the plant. This loader is made in Jefferson, Georgia. It's a pretty sophisticated plant to see as far as seeing the buckets formed by the robot, shaping and forming, the amount of sophistication in that plant, from painting to the final product. I was pretty amazed with that plant that we got to see. A lot of the loaders on the M7s around the world are not made in the same country, or they're not all genuine Kubota. We use a genuine Kubota brand. I think in some countries they use a Quick brand. One of the most impressive features is our Z-bar linkage. That's our mechanical self-leveling. It's nicely tucked inside the loader frame. We're on that Deere 640R loader. It's on the outside. It does obstruct the view some. We also changed the step. So the steps are now integrated into the fuel tank. It changed the incline to make it less steep, easier to get in for the operator. Kubota also moved the DEF tank out further. That's going to lower the amount of heat that the DEF tank sees, You don't want the DEF tank to get too hot. That can degrade the DEF fluid over time, especially when we start talking about heat. Next, we're going to go inside the cab of the tractor. So on the lighting, I wanted to get out here early in the morning to kind of show the difference off between the LED and the halogen lights. So I have the Gen 4 on the right, I have the Gen 2 on the left. Gen 2's got the halogen lights. Now, Kubota still offers the halogen light. On our 154, 174, we elected to go with the actual LED lights. It's a 12 LED light package kit, about a $1,740 upgrade done at the factory. You can see it even has LED tail lights. The Gen 2 has LED tail lights too, but not on the work lights unless you upgraded. So there's also a 16 LED light package, which includes 2 on the pillar as well as 2 more on the upper portion of the cab. You can add, we found you can add these through parts, or 4 pigtails and 2 lights that can be added to it to get to that effect. There's also a 16 LED light package from the factory, about $2,580, a different variant, but you can still get there going through the parts department. Now we're underneath the hood. I wanted to show you the air cleaner on this new Generation 4 tractor. You can see in the picture it's got a lot of Venturi. There's 18. This is similar to our SVL97. That's going to help pre-clean the air as it goes into the tractor. This air cleaner has also been, the angle's been angled out a little bit to give a little more access in the actual radiator compartment. I'm going to snap this lid shut, and then I'll show you, this is the negative, on the left we're going to show you the negative air pressure chamber. So basically, the way this works, the tractor, the air from the radiator, which is obviously pushing from the front to the back towards the outside of the tractor, the back and outside the tractor, is pushing it through this tube as the radiator fan spins. That's going to create a negative air chamber. It's going to help pull dirt out of the pre-cleaner on the air intake. By keeping that tube up top, we have a lot more room in the radiator compartment for cleaning it out. Now comparing it to the Gen 2, as you can see, there's not as much room. It has a dampener. You can only open the radiator compared to the condenser. You can only angle it out a little bit because this tube goes across the side. So that negative air pressure chamber on the Gen 2, basically the design would not let you get in as easy to clean the air radiator. This is going to be a major advantage in the hayfield, especially if you're in the hot summer months, baling hay, all that debris that gets caught on the radiator of the tractor. Now we're inside the seat of the tractor. I want to show you some of the features on this. All of our M6, M7 tractors come with the air ride seat, standard feature. It does have an adjustable headrest. You just have to pull up on the headrest and you can, it'd be a really nice feature. To adjust the air ride, you do have to have the key on. It's under the left armrest. You're gonna push this all the way to the top. Once you get all the way to the top, it'll hit the relief. When it hits the relief, you can press the down button to set it to the height that you want. This tractor does have lumbar support on the back. I'm gonna get it all the way up. There is a lumbar support lever on the back that you can adjust if you want to mess with that. To adjust the angle of the seat, there's a lever right here. It does have a rocking. If you want to take some of the jolt out of your knees when doing loader work, that's how you turn it basically into a rocking chair. This is how you adjust the dampener on the seat, make it firmer, softer. One of the neatest features is if you're doing a lot of loader work, you want to keep yourself planted in the back of the seat. You can adjust the front of the seat. A lot of the operators tend to push the seat up with this lever on the left. The lever in the middle allows you to turn the seat. So if you're working in the field and you're looking back at implements, it's going to be a lot easier in your neck, especially if you're running it for hours by turning that seat lever. You have another forward and backwards adjustment right here for the seat base, and then the main adjustment is right here. This is going to release the air. Next, we're going to go to the steering wheel tilt. So what the nice thing on the M7, if you push with your foot on the pedal, it'll show the pedal, This is going to unlock the steering column and the telescopic linkage. On the M6, you actually had a separate lever you had to pull to maneuver the telescopic steering. The lights, we can zoom in on the light display right here. As you can see, the lights are going to be over on this angle right over here. You can push each button individually for the lights. It does have a strobe light if you have the strobe light option. This tractor deluxe version comes standard with 8 halogen lights. We ended up electing to go with the 12 LED light kit. It's about a $1,740 factory upgrade. There is a 16 LED work light kit for $2,680 as a factory upgrade. If you do go with the base kit, you could upgrade to a dealer install kit for $1,096. It's going to give you the LED light package. Speaking of steering, the steering wheel has been changed. A little bit smaller diameter, but it's a thicker, better grip on the steering wheel as well. Speaking of steering, as we mentioned earlier, this tractor comes with the auto steering valve, all Gen 4s. And that's the fixed displacement pump we were talking about earlier that the multi-speed steering runs to. And we'll get back into that here in a little bit. Next, we're going to move to the Easy Command power shift transmission lever. So this is called the Easy Command lever. To enable the transmission, you have to press in the clutch when you get in the tractor. That's going to allow it to engage. On the back of this transmission, you can press forward or reverse to change your shuttle direction. You also have the auto shift button. This machine will not only automatically shift gears, it will also automatically shift ranges. In comparison to a lot of the competition, especially that 6145M, you do not get auto range gear shift. You have to option up, which is going to be quite a bit more cost. This goes back to Kubota's M6 series and M7. We've always had the auto gear and auto range shift on these tractors. If you want to change ranges, you push this button right here, push it forward to range shift up, to range shift down, pull it backwards. There is a convenient neutral button as well, right here on the panel. If you want to adjust the auto shift sensitivity, you just turn this dial right here to make it shift softer or warmer. We now have the addition of color-coded remotes. The Gen 2, they were all blue. These are color-coded, and from left to right on the outside of the machine, each remote lever corresponds with its side from left to right as well as color. The first 2 remotes also have flow control built in, or the first and third remote have flow control built in. You do have the option to add a 4th remote. This tractor comes standard with 540 and 1000, economy and regular PTO. To engage it, you just push the lever down. This is where you select between economy PTO or regular PTO. I have this in regular PTO. The one on the right side is how to engage it from 540 to 1000. Just pushing that lever down is how you will engage it. The next button is the auto four-wheel drive. With the button in the center is 2-wheel drive. Push forward will automatically engage the four-wheel drive when the tractor sees it is slipping. If you push it all the way down, it's in constant four-wheel drive. This is the auto differential lock. If you get into some slippage, you can turn this on. This is going to help keep the tractor straighter. In the middle is off, push down, differential lock is on all the time. One of my favorite features is travel mode with the auto shift. If you put it in travel mode, it's going to automatically change the ranges on the tractor as well. Not just the gears, but the ranges. If you put it in field mode, the power shift transmission on, and you're working something on the back of the tractor, it's going to automatically change the gears. But to change the ranges, you don't really want it hopping around, but you can manually change the ranges by pushing this button in on the Easy Command lever, pressing it forward, range shift up, pulling it back to range shift down. These are additional features you can add. The red button, you don't push the red button. This is for limp mode. You'd want to check in your operator's manual before messing with this button. The top left button is your 3-point limit control. The top right button is the speed control on your 3-point. This is your draft control right here. This is a unique button. Most people don't know what this is. This is called ride control. If you have a heavy implement on the back of your tractor, you have the 3-point raised all the way to the top. If you're driving over, I think it's 4.2 miles an hour, this light will come on. It's going to take a lot of the shock out of the ride. If you go below, I believe it's 4.1 or 4.2 miles an hour, it's going to turn this ride control off. The light will go off. Next, we're going to talk about the multi-speed steering. One of the most important new features is the multi-speed steering control. This tractor, I have the multi-speed steering turned off at the moment, so I'm going to turn the steering wheel. You're going to see it takes about 4 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4 turns. 4.25 turns. Now, that's also going to depend on, like we talked about earlier, where the steering stops are set. So if they've been adjusted, which they have on this tractor, it may take more turns than another tractor. Next, I'm going to turn the multi-speed steering on. It's in off position now. I'm going to put it in R1. You see the light comes on solid once it's in R1. Pull up the RPMs a little bit. It pulled up to about, I'd say around 1200. Now I'm going to turn this. 1, 2, 3, about 3.5 turns. Next, we're going to put it in R2. This is 60% mode. Okay. Turn the wheel. 1, 2, 3. Next, I'm going to put it in R3. This is 100%. Now we want to zoom in on the dash. When that light is flashing, that means there's not enough flow to this auto steering valve that also runs the multi-speed steering through it. It's a fixed displacement pump separate from the closed center hydraulic system. So we need to raise the RPMs up to 1500 RPMs. Now you notice the light is solid. Now I'm going to turn this. We'll see how fast it turns. Should be 2 turns. 1, 2. Next, we're going to split the brakes. The brakes have been split on the tractor. And I want to show off how this feature works. Engage the shuttle button. So we were surprised to find that the splitting the brakes with the multi-speed steering will actually work. As you can see, if you're trying to get through a hayfield, maybe you're pulling a plow or something really heavy, you're really not going to have any trouble steering the tractor. You can really get into these tight areas. Try it on the left side next. Split it to the left. So there's a lot of advantages to this multi-speed steering. This is a standard feature on all of the Generation 4 tractors. Once again, this is not something you're going to find in a lot of the competition. I think this is going to be very beneficial to customers, and it is interesting to know that Kubota has always been big on tight turning radius. On the M6 tractors, we've had bi-speed steering for many years. Similar to the multi-speed steering, realistically, the outcome with the bi-speed steering, once you went over 6.5 miles an hour, it would disengage, and that was where the front wheels were actually turning faster than the back wheels. On the M7, we don't turn the front wheels faster. We just make the steering wheel input take less to turn the tractor around. Now, if you are using this system and you go over 6.5 to 7 miles an hour, the light will begin to flash and it will disengage the multi-speed steering. If you turn the tractor off with the multi-speed steering on and you go to turn it back on, you're going to find the multi-speed steering will not be on. This is a safety feature. This is in case another operator gets into the tractor. They may not know the multi-speed's turned on. You have to turn it back off to cycle it, then turn it back on, and you'll see the light come back onto the tractor. Just turn your RPMs back up, and it will come back on. I'm going to drive it, show you the speed setting on the tractor. You have to engage the clutch to initiate. Once you've done that, you can use the easy command shift lever. Turn the parking brake off. As you can see, the light is solid on the dash. Watch the speedometer on the dash and the light. We zoom in on the speedometer and that. Now it's flashing, the multi-speed is disengaged. Somewhere around 6.5, 7 miles an hour. It's not an exact number. It varies with the flow and the speed. Now it's flashing. I don't have multi-speed. I have it turned at 100%. It's not active. Slow the tractor back down. Now it's active again. We'll do some tight turns. And there we have it, the multi-speed steering control on the Kubota. Next, we're going to talk about the power takeoff. This yellow and black lever is the power takeoff. To engage it, just push this lever forward. As you can see on the dash, this light is going to come on. You might come around this angle, probably get a little bit better view. If you get out of the seat, it will turn the PTO off. You can see the light comes on the dash and it's going to beep at you. The reason I did that is because I want to show you a new feature. I'm going to turn the PTO back on. The Gen 4, there's a button underneath the dash. This button right here, the stationary PTO. If I hold this button down for 3 seconds, if you'll zoom in on from this, maybe from this angle, you have to have the parking brake set, kind of a safety feature, and then hold this button down 3 seconds, and you're going to see the stationary PTO light come on. This is going to be very handy if you have something like a grain mixture that you need to run. Great new feature on the tractor. Pull this lever, that's going to turn it back off. Turn the PTO, parking brake back off. This is your 3-point position control lever. If you push this button, it's going to lock the 3-point. This is going to be especially handy if you have an implement that you don't want the drive line to get an odd angle, so you can lock the 3-point from moving. Unlock that. This is your throttle set. These are your A and B program for throttle presets. You have to have it at full throttle to set this. Once you push the button, we zoom in on the dash, you can see the tachometer. Zoom in on the tachometer. I can change it in 10 RPM increments. I'm going to push the B button. Same thing here with the B button. Next, we're going to go to the Xpress Restart. To turn the Xpress Restart on, there's a button on the dash. You must press this button. Next, you have to press in the main clutch. Once you press in the main clutch, you're going to see the A numbers come on the dash. I can see the Xpress Restart light is on. Notice, come in from this angle, notice how the Xpress Restart light is lit solid. That's indicating that the brakes are together, they're not split. Since the clutch has been engaged, I can press in the shuttle enable button, the forward button on easy command. The tractor's going to drive forward. I do not have to use the shuttle lever on the left side. I do not have to use the main clutch. I can simply hit the brake. That's going to engage the clutch. Shuttle enable, reverse. Much easier, especially if you're pulling a baler and you need to stop to dump the bale. You can simply hit the brake, dump the bale, close the tailgate, release the brake, and drive forward. This is going to be a significant advantage over the previous model. Engage it. One thing that we found we didn't think the tractor would do is allow us to split the brakes. If you split the brakes, there's a yellow lever down on the floor. The light is going to flash. There's a sensor around this angle. Now, if I release the brakes, it's going to disengage the clutch. Come around right here. Come around in this angle. Now I'm going to split the brakes, and it's still going to split the brakes and allow the tractor to drive. If I put my foot in the middle of the pedal, the Xpress Restarts continue to work. There's a lot of nice features in this tractor. This Xpress Restart is a standard feature on all the Gen 4 Kubota tractors. Compared to the competition, I know the John Deere 6145M, but you're going to have to option up to get it. It is available, but it's going to cost you more money. So the button next to the Xpress Restart, this is the defrost button. We have the basic air conditioner controls. One of the new features on this tractor is the new window deep temp position. So by folding out this linkage, we could actually leave the window locked in and open. This is going to be especially handy if you want to adjust your flow control valves, or if you want to listen to the equipment. I can actually reach down, adjust the flow control valves on the first and the third remote valve. Next, we're going to go to the outside of the tractor. So now we're on the back of the tractor. You can see the rear remotes we talked about earlier are color coded, and they're in order from left to right. The first and third, remember, have flow control. We talked about the mechanical cab suspension. You can see the cylinders on the back of the cab as well. Look at the size of the 3-point lift cylinders. This tractor will lift 11,000 pounds on the 3-point. It's got the highest lift capacity in its class. I think the closest competitor is around 8,500 pounds. We also have flange axles on this particular tractor. There is an option for the bar axle. You could set the row spacing, and you could add dual rear tires to the tractor if you want. On the left and the right fender, we can raise and lower the 3-point. If you'll zoom in on this, the switches on this side, we can raise and lower the 3-point from this control. We can also bump the PTO by hitting the yellow button. It's going to make it easier to hook up attachments. If you hold the button down for about 5 to 6 seconds, it's going to allow you to have constant PTO. That's going to be really good if you have a stationary PTO item like a feed mixer and you want to run it. To engage it, you simply just push the red button on the back, and that's going to disengage the rear PTO. So as you can see, there's a lot of new competitive features on this tractor. They're going to set it on top with the competition, especially the multi-speed steering, the new loader. One thing I didn't mention earlier, on that new loader, the LM2606, we also offer the hydraulic Euro quick attach. This is going to be similar to the hydraulic quick attach that we've offered on our Grand L60 series for the last 12, 13 years. The difference being Euro. So we're out here doing the Infield testimonial with the M7. We've got the M7 172 Deluxe tractor. I've also got a John Deere 6M series. This particular one is the 6175M. I've got Aubrey Fortenberry here with Fortenberry Farm and Ranch.
Yeah, so what made us look into this tractor is we were kind of diehard Deere fans, and we went and looked at Deeres and weren't really happy and couldn't really make a deal on what we would want. And the tractor size that we were looking for was around 150 horsepower. And so we owned a lot of smaller Kubota equipment from the BX tractors and the side-by-sides up to some skid steers. And so we decided that we were going to look at Kubota for a tractor. And when we went to start doing research on the tractor, we found that they have a tried and true 4-cylinder diesel engine that's been out on the market for a long time. That's a good, strong engine. Kubota's kind of known for making some of the best diesels in the industry.
So let's talk about the size of that engine. On the 4-cylinder Kubota diesel engine, that's about a 98 to 100 cubic inch larger engine in its class, especially when you compare it to that 6145M tractor.
Yes, and we saw that, and we kind of have a saying out here that there's no replacement for displacement. And so we wanted a tractor, we didn't want a tractor that was working nonstop. And so when we saw that larger engine size, that larger piston diameter, we knew that that was going to be better in that mid-class large tractor, large frame tractor range.
Yeah. So let's talk about that ZF transmission. And I know y'all had said that you had done a lot of research on that transmission, and I hear there's differences between the Kubota and some of the other brands, so talk about that some.
Yeah, so we recognize the brand of that transmission, and we know that competitors like Deere uses that transmission. It's used heavily overseas and is really sought after and bulletproof in a way. And so this tractor has A through E range and 6 speeds per range of a power shift, and we really like that in the baling hay.
How do you feel about the auto range shift and auto gear shift? Do you have that on your Deere?
No, we do not. And when you're baling hay on this tractor, it's really nice at the end of a long day, or in the beginning of a day even, to start out in C1 and every time you push it into neutral, let your bell tie off, kick your bell out, and put your transmission back in, it goes back to C1, it lets the hay start feeding into the baler, and before you know it, you're back to C6 again. Or whatever range speed you want to go to is how you can set this tractor.
Yeah, and there's going to be some more features that we'll get into here in a little bit on the new model we have coming out on that ZF transmission. What do you think about the loader on this tractor?
The loader on this tractor, and if you compare it to other models, and once we got to looking at these tractors in person and realizing how stout and large and well made they are, the size of their axles, and even their loader itself, it's the heaviest loader in the market when you go to looking at them. The thickness of steel, the size of cylinders, the size of pins, the way the pins are able to be greased. I don't think there's any loader that comes factory from a manufacturer that competes with this loader.
Now we start talking about the cab. I'd mentioned earlier in some of the video that we have the 4-post cab and Deere's using that 6-post. So tell me a little bit about that 4-post cab on this Kubota.
Well, so the visibility out of this tractor with the way the hood slopes down and setting in this tractor and the amount of the glass and visibility of seeing out of it is far superior than the 6-post. So if you're old or stiff, well, anywhere you turn, you're going to see out. Much like a lot of the larger tractors have started doing, Kubota has nailed that right on the head. The other thing about this tractor is you go, well, there's a lot of glass. Does that reflect on heat like it did in the early 2000s? And not on this tractor. This tractor's AC is remarkable, and they even have AC vents, and that's well thought out after being out in August in 110-degree heat in Texas, where you have an AC vent that blows right on the middle of your back. And if anybody that's drove a tractor knows, that's a spot that gets pretty nasty during the summertime, and
yeah,
it's a quick way of cooling down.
That's going to be a big deal if you're out there in the hayfield. Speaking of the hayfield, let's talk about underneath the hood of the tractor.
Yeah, so this tractor here, you can raise the loader up, pull the grill guard down, and get to the radiator. I know that on the models that are coming out, the 174 Deluxe, one thing that we kind of wanted on this tractor that it didn't have is the radiator opens up just a few inches. And on the newer tractors, the radiator completely folds up out of the way.
Yeah, so we moved the pre-cleaner air intake, we angled it out, and by doing that on the right side, we were able to move the negative air pressure chamber from the pre-cleaner to the radiator shroud up to the top. So now we can open up, we have about 4 to 5 inches of space so you can get into that radiator. Now, I think whenever we looked at that one at the store, that seemed to be a very big impressive point for you and the rest of your team.
Yeah, it was. The other thing, which I know we went back from the cab, is where the controls at are on this tractor are all within just an arm distance away. You're not reaching for nothing. Everything is just right where it's supposed to be. So, which goes to the new one. I believe that there's this tractor has 3 SCV joints on the back, hydraulics hookups, and on the new ones, they're color coded.
Yeah, so they're not only color coded, they're also in order from left to right. I think you had mentioned before that you had put color-coded tape on the Gen 2, so on the Gen 4 you won't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, I would have to carry rows of tape with us to match up our implements to our tractor to make sure that we were getting our implements where they were swinging left and right, where you get used to them being at. And having that feature, even though it seems small, is one less thing you have to worry about doing when you're operating a piece of equipment.
Yeah. So now let's talk about what's coming. The new Gen 4 tractor. Remember, we have the Xpress Restart. So tell me what you think about that Xpress Restart.
So, like loading hay and unloading hay, or when you're driving a tractor and you come up to a big green clump on baling hay, they have a unique feature that's out on the 174 or 54 that you can reach over and press the brake, and it shuts the whole tractor down and basically puts it into neutral. And you can let off without having to push the clutch in, worrying about it in neutral. A major safety factor, in my opinion.
Yeah. So as far as running the hay baler, you're going to be able to open that tailgate. You know, hit the brake, open tailgate, dump the bale, close the tailgate, let your foot off the brake, and hit the throttle and go. You're not going to have your hand up here on the left steering column, so it'll be a lot more efficient, a lot easier. That hand stays on the steering wheel, so it's going to be a lot safer. Another feature that we thought was pretty impressive was a standard feature, auto steering valve.
Yes, yeah, so this tractor doesn't have that feature, and we're having to do a few things aftermarket to put that on. Some of the more fancier models of the Kubota had it, but now the Deluxe, which I think is Kubota's tried and true large frame tractor that the farmer's going to want to buy, now comes with that valve, and that's going to save farmers so much money and time when they're hooking GPSs up.
And that's going to be a standard feature. Now, you and I had kind of mentioned this the other day. That same valve also runs another new feature. That runs the new multi-speed steering control. So you're going to have less turns of the steering wheel to get faster and more agile. And you can basically take it from 4 turns to 2 turns to do a complete cycle of the steering wheel. How is that going to help you in your applications?
Oh, like when we're baling hay, we're running 10 miles an hour. And a tractor this size, you can get across the field and ride that way with the comfort of this tractor. And when you come up to a corner, it doesn't seem like much, but 4 turns of a steering wheel really fast and to straighten back out, that's a lot of movement at the end of the day, or even in a tight field. Or like example, unloading and loading hay, you're going from making 2 turns to make a right angle turn to 1 turn, where wherever you point it, it's going to go. I think that feature, after driving one at the dealership, I think that feature's people's going to have it once they run it.
Sure. Now, you know, now we're mentioning the base weight. You said you weighed this tractor, and you weighed this tractor here. What was the weights you came up with on these 2 tractors?
So the weight that is on the Kubota M7 172, I had the Kubota factory bucket, plumb full of diesel and DEF, ready to go to the field. There's no weights on this tractor, and there's no water in the tires or anything like that. This tractor came out at like 20,000 pounds, sitting the way it was. The John Deere, we put the front end loader, or the bucket on the front end loader on it. Now, let me say that tractor has flotation tires on it and a larger size tire. It also has 1,000 pounds of cast iron weights on the inside of the rims, and it came out weighing 22.5. So with this tractor with no weights or nothing, it's only 2,500 pounds less than a fully weighted out 6175M.
Yep. And from what I had seen, the 6145M compared to like our M7 154D, we actually are at 13,500 pounds base weight. Ours was heavier on that tractor. So the 2 tractors you have here, if you had them equal without the weights, you're looking at a very similar weight to that 6175M tractor.
Yeah, you're looking at 500 pounds difference, but that's also not including that has bigger tires on it that might make up the weight. I know that if you look at this tractor, the front hanger weight or bumper guard, it's bigger. The front axle is a heavier front axle. The rear axles are bigger in diameter. The loader is much heavier. That's where Kubota, they're making it where you're not having to put as much weight on this tractor for the class of horsepower. I know that 175 is also a larger horsepower tractor.
Yep.
So it's hard to compare a larger tractor to a smaller one, but you're able to because of the amount of weight that this Kubota's packing in it.
Sure. Well, is there anything else that you've got to add? I think we've covered a lot of good points on these 2 tractors.
Yeah. No, I just know that the new features I'd like to have on this 172 that's on the 174 for sure.
Yeah. So it looks like maybe we got a potential trade coming in the future.
Yeah.
Once again, this is Isaac with Zimmer Kubota. Be sure to reach out to us on the web at zimmerkubota.com or give us a call at the Denton store at 940-382-1564. Thank you and have a great day.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.